If you think you're autistic, you probably are. Like, straight up, you probably are. Y'all press the button. I can talk about this shit all day. There's a lot of problems with the way that neurodivergent conditions are diagnosed across the board. Like, a lot of problems. For example, autism, they'll look at social difficulty. Things like not being able to make eye contact or not being able to hold conversation well. It's like stuff like that. They'll look at things like that, and if you don't literally tick those boxes on like a survey, congratulations, you don't have autism, which is like bullshit. You may not, but it's a whole bigger song and dance with that. Behavior sets are gonna look different depending on what sample you're looking at, what environment you're in, what factors are being put into play depending on what's going on. And those vary from different demographics because at least in this country, certain demographics have different access to resources. This is a really big problem for Black people with autism as well, at least over here in the way we evaluate it. Well, no, DSM is an international standard, so it's probably across the board. They were getting evaluated, at least for a while in like early 2000s when I needed evaluations. For a lot of people when they're getting evaluated, the criteria that they're going on were based off of typical behaviors that were exhibited by young white males, aged blah through blah, in specific environments based off of what activities are typical for them. And this is not just about Black kids, this is about anybody, but like because of that, and because these standards, this data sets used to develop diagnostic criteria, because that was all set up in this certain way from these limited perspectives, all the diagnostics, whether you're white, Black, whatever the case is, are gonna go off this one standard. So a lot of people ended up getting completely missed for proper diagnostics because their entire set was looked at under a totally different lens. To expand on that just a little bit further, it's also a problem because like that same, not the exact problem where it's just like a race or like access thing, but like the problem of setting this specific list of criteria and very strictly being like, hey, tick this box, regardless of how you're drawing that box, expands so much further. It's another really big problem for especially women or people assigned female at birth in the States. Like if you try to go and get a diagnostic for autism or neurodivergence, like good fucking luck. That's not to deter anybody, but like it's so difficult because there's so many stigmas as well in that department as well, where people just get diagnosed with like something like bipolar, some sort of more potent, direct descriptor of what these behaviors are, rather than here's the set of neurodivergent behaviors that you might fall under. I've seen so many people in my line of work that have come inside the unit I was working on, and I could tell in an instant, like no hate, no shame, no nothing, but like, you are autistic. Like just straight the fuck up. Like you are showing textbook, like from the DSM-5, every sign available. And they would come to me like crying, saying like, I've struggled with this. I've tried to figure out whether or not I may or may not be autistic. I'm so confused. And I would have to be the one to give them like access to like websites and shit like, hey, these people might be able to get you a diagnosis, or here's a direction you can go in where, you know, you might find more information on this. The very next day when they would come in, I would see them go into a licensed psychiatrist's room, speak with them for 30 minutes, talk about the validity of their complaints, being like, hey, I think I might have this, I think I might think in this way, this, that, and the third, da-da-da. And the psychiatrist would just be like, well, you're making eye contact, so I don't know about all that. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man? It grosses me the fuck out. It really does. I only worked in one location. I can't speak to every single mental health facility in the world. I really can't. But like, this is such a widespread problem. It really is. And I'm to the point now where it's like, I'm fully on team, like this enabling people to take kind of control of their own definitions with that, because there's so little being done in terms of properly addressing the needs of this population. Fuck it. If you think you're autistic, you probably fucking are. Like straight up, you probably are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Use that to your advantage. Use that to seek resources. Use that to give yourself a crutch in whatever ways are available to you in your state, however your laws are governed, however your medical systems are handled, whatever the case is. Like, do that, please. Seek your own help out if you can, but like, it's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. And I'm talking minimally on that. I could talk about that shit for days, but I'll save that for a chill stream. But Jesus Christ.